sure changed the entire path of my Duke career. I was walking to a lunch catered for Black first years with a group of girls from my dorm. Oh, we friends, we all know the deal. And as we approached the lunch hall, I got a notification on my phone that the CSGD was having a welcome reception. I wanted to go, but at this point, I wasn't sure whether I should continue on to the lunch or enter the CSGD. Keep in mind that at this point, I wasn't out to anyone else at Duke, and I wouldn't formally come out for another month or so. I had come out in high school, but I was confident that I would reinvent myself in college, and for the first time, really participate in the Blackness that defines my identity. And this lunch was the first step in connecting to Blackness and Black people for the first time in my life. You see, where I grew up, and the activities I participated in, I was surrounded by mostly white people, or at least very few Black people. I mean, by the time I graduated high school, only like 2 of my closest friends were Black. But Black culture was never something I was readily a part of. It almost felt like I didn't fit in with the other Black people, so eventually I stopped trying, proudly wearing the label Oreo, or whatever. Anyways, in the end, I decided to go to the CSGD and muttered off some excuse about how I had some other event to go to. Entering the center that day was one of the scariest moments of my life. I stood outside the stores for about 10 minutes trying to muster up the strength to walk in. I wasn't sure that I would regret choosing one part of myself over the other, and I wasn't sure that I wouldn't. And when I entered the center that day, proud of myself for finally overcoming my fear, I felt strange. Looking around, I saw that I was one of 2, maybe 3 Black people in the room, almost full to capacity. I expected to walk into the center and feel at home. I expected my identity to be affirmed in a way it hadn't been before, but it wasn't. Something was missing, and something would continue to be missing. It has been difficult entering spaces like the CSGD and the BDU, knowing that I would be one of 2 Black people in the room. Knowing that by choosing my queerness, I'm compromising my Blackness. So much of the queer community is rich white men, and nothing against that, it's just hard to find a place in the community that's meant to comfort you when there's no one like you. I mean, we can't ignore the fact that communities based off of sexuality and gender tend to be racist, and communities based off of race and ethnicity tend to be misogynistic or homophobic. Every day I have to worry about entering a queer space and dealing with the racism that's so tightly embedded in our community. You know, going on Tinder, only to match with a girl who says, "Hey sweetie, I've never tasted Black pussy before." As if the color of my skin somehow changes my anatomy. You know, I actually almost responded to her saying, "We taste just like white people, but with seasoning." And you know, intolerance works both ways. Every day I have to worry about entering a Black space and being the subject of homophobic slurs. Like when my own family will call a man a fag because his jeans are a little too well fit, or will think a woman is somehow inferior or mentally ill because she's attracted to other women. That day, freshman year, was the first time I had to choose between my queerness and my Blackness, and every day since then I've had to choose between these 2 important parts of myself that just don't seem to mix. I chose queerness that day, and I thought it would be a done deal. Decision made, being queer would be my thing in college. But I couldn't have been more wrong. I have to juggle being queer and being Black, and I constantly have to choose which one I'm going to present myself as in class. Do I choose to be the token queer kid in a room, or do I choose to be the token Black kid? And which identity am I drawing my experience from? Am I speaking as someone who suffered because of homophobia, or because of racism? I wanted so badly to come into college and connect with people who were just like me. But there was no one like me. I chose the CSGD that day, and you know what? I didn't go near it for another month. I didn't muster up the strength to. I attempted to go to Black events, but I always felt out of place. There was no place where every part of me was affirmed and validated. And you know, I have access to both spaces, both queer and Black, and that can be fantastic. But I can't justify only being defined by my Blackness when I'm really fucking queer. And I can't settle with only being defined by my queerness when I'm obviously Black. I don't know. Just imagine not feeling at home in any community you're a part of. Imagine not feeling like you fully belong anywhere because in every community you're a part of, you have to give up an important and fundamental part of yourself. It's not fair. It's just really not fair, and I don't know what to do. In my first week of college, I chose queerness to define who I was and who I would be. And every fucking day of my life, I wonder who I would be if I didn't have to choose.